Well, first, why don't you introduce yourself and the character you play, and a little bit about your character. We'll go left to right.
Sure. I'm Lauren Rosner. I played Judy Burnley, which was originated by Jane Fonda in the film. And Judy is recently separated from her husband, Dick. And the way that we're playing it is that they've been married for about 15 years, and he leaves her for his secretary at work. And so she is faced with the challenge for the first time in her life of having to find work and have a job rather than just stay at home and take care of her husband. So Judy has this obstacle of finding her way in the workplace amongst women who have been there for a while, and she has that obstacle of coming into her own being as an independent woman rather than relying on her husband. So that's Judy's journey through the show.
I'm Libby Schneider. I'm playing Doralee Rhodes. She was originally played by the one and only Dolly Parton in the film, and on Broadway, actually, Megan Hilty from NBC's Smash. Doralee, she's pretty straightforward. She is who she is. She's sassy, she's brassy, she's not afraid to be sexy. She's a very strong woman from Texas. She has been married to Dwayne for a little bit, madly in love with her husband. And she is the private secretary to Mr. Franklin Hart, who has some ulterior motives because she's not afraid to dress and be who she is. She is a voluptuous, sexy young woman, about 25. And Mr. Hart kind of takes advantage of that, and kind of throughout the play, you realize she's catching on to, it's more than him just like doing these little things here and there. There's a little bit more going on, and she catches on and is like, hey, I may be a sexy woman, but that doesn't mean you have the right to do any of the things you're doing to me. So.
Okay.
And I'm Kira Lace Hawkins. I'm playing Violet Newstead. She was originated by Lily Tomlin in the movie. And Violet is kind of one of those women in the late 70s who was career-minded, which was a little less popular in those days. She started working right around the time she had her son, and so it wasn't an issue to raise the kids and work at the same time. She's very headstrong. She's a strong personality, and is kind of she's been there the longest. She's a supervisor, and has dreams and aspirations of moving up in the company, and keeps running into that glass ceiling as it is, of not being able to move forward because she's a woman. Only because she's a woman, not because she can't do it. She's a woman. So she gets to kind of be that voice of, a guy gets promoted above her, and she trained that guy, and how unfair that is, and and she has a really interesting kind of, she's a widow of 3 years, and in the musical that's not in the movie, they added a little love interest for her, and so that's been kind of fun in this character as well.
Okay. Well, before I ask more questions, my first question is this is based on a 1980s movie. Has this been updated, or is it still set in 1980s, or has things changed in it?
It's set in 1979. So the movie was made in the 80s, but it's a 70s movie. It really talks about the feminist struggles in the 70s, when women were first starting to have that need and that urge to move up in the workplace rather than just stay at home and take care of the kids. So that is the time that this musical takes place.
And what's really fun about it is there's a lot of kind of dated jokes that will be hilarious to our audience, where we just don't know because it hasn't happened in our world yet. So it gets to be really fun.
Yeah. And for those who love the movie, there are so many lines that are those classic lines that hopefully the audience will be saying along with us, but at the same time has been up. As she mentioned earlier, there's a new love interest. There are a couple new plot twists, just to keep things fresh and exciting.
And all the songs and the music.
So it's a little bit different to have something exciting and new to watch, but it still holds true to that beloved film.
Absolutely.
Well, I was reading up on it, and it got 15 Drama Desk Awards, and it's 4 Tony nominations. I mean, what does that tell you about the show itself? To got that many awards? and you guys, original roles are legendary women, Dolly Parton and Jane Fonda. Is that added pressure to you guys, or?
I think for me, it just made some really great research for this role to like watch these women, watch the movie again, and of course it's iconic. Everyone knows 9 to 5, so you have to bring a certain level of what the audience is expecting to the character. But at the same time, the musical has enough differences, like we were just talking about, from the original movie that you can make it your own, and you don't have to do exactly. I don't have to do exactly what Jane Fonda did with Judy, because there are enough differences to make it unique to us.
Okay. Well, Dolly Parton especially, I guess, wrote the songs and stuff, and you were playing Dolly. How do you feel about playing that role? I mean,
At first, when I first got the call, I was not only thrilled, but it's quite daunting because Dolly is Dolly. You can't explain it. She's just her own entity, and she's so iconic, not just from the film, but just as a person. What's really interesting is she actually wrote the song during filming 9 to 5, the theme song. And so from that experience, they moved on, and when they started developing the musical, they asked her to write the music, and then it was adapted for stage. But as she said, there's enough breath and life to the piece that while still giving homage and bringing the justice to those women, it's your own. And I think that speaks really well to the piece in general, because it's about being your own woman and doing what you need to do. And I've been so thankful for that.
Well, hopefully sexism in the office, whatever, has changed a lot. But so when you guys are playing these roles, how do you address that, and do you go reflect on something that's happened yourself, or that's kind of the big issue in the whole show, or?
Yeah, I think, while I think it's changed a lot, I think there's still leaps and bounds to go. I think I would be very surprised if there's not a woman alive today that hasn't at some point felt something, a challenge, just because, and that goes for whoever you are, there's going to be prejudices and things you have to deal with no matter who you are. But yeah, so it was certainly easy to recall those times, like you said, and just say, I remember how I dealt with that, and
Yeah, right.
bring your own sensibility to it.
No,
Well, I just think that there are certainly there are places in the country where it's not so much of an issue anymore, but then there are also areas where women are still just kind of, go and have the babies and stay at home and take care of them, and that's your job, that's your role. And I don't know if there's certainly, that's great, and there are women who, that's exactly what they want to do. But then there are women who want the best of both worlds. They want to have kids and raise a family, but they also want to work and have their career aspirations. And I know that's, a thing in my life. I know that I want to have a family someday, but I also know that I have goals. So that's really great fuel for the fire, I guess, of doing this show, finding that balance and just being a strong woman, getting everything you want.
Absolutely. And as Kiera mentioned, it's not just about women. I mean, in this era, and because it's a period piece, that's kind of the focus of the show. But I think especially the way the musical is written, it adapts itself to really be about the underdog and anybody who's struggled with being respected and heard in the workplace. It can be really, really powerful. So.
Okay. Well, you mentioned the music, and obviously everyone knows the song 9 to 5, but she wrote a lot of more music. What are the songs similar to 9 to 5? Are they different? What is the music like in the show?
Well, something I love about the music in the show is because it is Dolly, it has to have her essence and her twang. And particularly with Dora Lee, of course, you hear that twang. But the cool thing about the show is it has a bit of Dolly throughout all of it, but the way it was adapted and arranged for the stage, it kind of has a lot of elements of a lot of different styles of music. And through that, you kind of get the experience of a real full musical with different layers and different feelings. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's
keeps you guessing. Too.
Yeah.
Lots of different
Yeah.
styles, and but then Libby gets to sing backwards Barbie, which a lot of people also will remember, and so there are those memorable tunes and ones that you'll have never heard. And, yeah.
Okay. Is there a lot of dancing in the show too? Is it
Lots of dancing.
Yes.
okay? So I wasn't sure because I knew it's a musical, but is there a lot of dancing? So okay. Talk, I guess, a little bit about what you've gotten out of this role yourself. I mean, has it changed your thoughts on anything such as work, sexism, working in a workplace or anything, or?
Well, for me, my character has a really interesting journey. She starts as this kind of like meek, mousy, really uncertain about herself and the direction that her life is going, and just very reserved, which isn't really how I am. So it's been a challenge to find that voice, and but like really fulfilling to be able to give Judy this really awesome arc, and she changes so much through the story, and like taking her on that journey from this like really uncertain, everyone just feels for her. You feel for this woman because you understand her. Everyone has that part in them that's unsure and uncertain, and just getting to take her on this journey has been really fulfilling for me as an actress. It's different from what I've done in the past, and it's taught me a lot about finding a character's voice and taking them on this journey every time you do the show. It's been great.
I've had a really personal journey with this piece. I come from a very conservative background. I still consider myself a pretty conservative gal, and being so free and comfortable with the body I was given, very similarly to Dolly and Doralee, and being just comfortable literally in your own skin, and not feeling like I need to hide my body and hide whatever sexuality I was given as part of who I am, and realizing that just being who I am doesn't put me in a particular box or a particular zone of a person, and really just being me. And I think that's all what Dolly's all about. That's what Doralee is all about, and it's been really refreshing to kind of have that hit home.
Similar to Lauren, my character is different from me. So where Violet is maybe closed off to people, I'm a very kind of warm, and I want to make sure everybody's okay, and so to find that place where I have a little bit of a wall built up has been a challenge, and certainly I've learned from that, and I've more so learned from Violet's strength and power, because sometimes my warmth can put me in that more submissive place wherever I am. But she just is a very assertive, powerful woman, and that's been a real treat for me to explore.
Okay.